There is angry backlash to yesterday's stunning news that the former governor of New York will not face any criminal charges in relation to his prostitution scandal. The U.S. attorney explained it this way. It's just not their policy to prosecute Johns. Well, here is my response to that. Why not? And how can we change your, quote, policy? It's just not fair that a man who put lots of people away busting prostitution rings back when he was New York's attorney general gets off scot-free when he uses a prostitute while governor. While he waltzes away, 4 people who ran the ring, including one of the ring's booking agents, Tanya Hollander, they're all facing jail time. Hollander's lawyer is blasting the decision not to prosecute Spitzer, and he joins me right now. Michael Farkas, thanks for joining us. Tell us why you are so upset over this decision to let Spitzer waltz away.
Well, with all policies, there's always some kind of unfairness behind it. And in this one, there is a true fundamental unfairness. When you have minor players in this enterprise, especially my client, who also have fully accepted responsibility, offered their full cooperation, and again, had a very minor role to much of a lesser extent than I believe Mr. Spitzer did, who are still facing jail, whereas he is not. Now, I'm not saying I don't understand the U.S. Attorney's policy. I do. However,
well, wait,
there's
you
an
do?
inequity here.
I don't, because they're saying that, you know, there was a lack of evidence, and he accepted responsibility. You know what? He only accepted responsibility because he was caught. That's why he accepted responsibility. He held a news conference and said, yes, I did it and I'm a bad boy. Is that accepting responsibility? I think not.
Well, there's a difference between accepting responsibility for one reason or another, isn't there? I mean, obviously, he would not have accepted it if he wasn't caught. And I'm certainly not defending the former governor. I think his actions were the most egregious they could possibly be, especially for a public figure of someone like him who has stood up against prostitution rings in particular. But the feds do not prosecute Johns, and they generally do not prosecute hookers. We know that. It's always been that way. It's not a surprise. But this isn't just a John who's being let go while nothing really happens to anybody else. There are players in this conspiracy, quote unquote, who contributed to the extent that I believe is far less than him, and they're facing jail.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. A law is a law. I don't understand this whole concept of we have a law, but it's our policy not to prosecute it. Let's talk about the Mann Act. That is a federal law that says you are not supposed to transport women or girls across state lines for the purposes of prostitution. The young lady you're looking at right there got on a train from New York to Washington, D.C. to meet Spitzer, to have sex with him. That strikes me as crossing state lines. She did it for him. He arranged it. He paid for it. So why is not he charged?
Well, it's actually worse than that. He did it on several occasions, and he paid a whole lot of money to make it happen. So, again, I'm not in the position, nor is it my job to defend Mr. Spitzer or the U.S. Attorney's decision. I'm Ms. Hollander's attorney.
You're perfectly free to agree with me.
Well, you know, what I believe is most important is that my client's fundamental right to fairness is in question here. And the good news is that the disposition of a co-conspirator, such as Mr. Spitzer, is relevant to the judge's decision.
In plain English, what are you saying there? You say when you take your client to court, you're going to say, Judge, he walked, so I want my client to walk.
That is one of my arguments, yes. Now I can make that argument on her behalf.
Now, Ashley Dupree, the young lady that we saw there a moment ago, has also walked. She apparently decided to sing, as they say, and I'm not talking about her dubious singing career. She decided to sing, so they gave her immunity. What's the point of giving this woman immunity if they're not going to prosecute Spitzer?
Well, looking back in retrospect, you're absolutely right. What was the point? But in the beginning, if you look at it from their perspective, they gained a lot of information. They were conducting a vigorous investigation. And as a matter of course, they generally don't prosecute hookers in the first place. So,
and just to distinguish, we're talking about the feds, because obviously state, local governments prosecute hookers, and it's not just on TV where we see them in a long line of a chain with handcuffs. I mean, it's the local authorities generally that go after the hookers, not the feds, is what you're saying.
You're absolutely right. And what's interesting is that the district attorney of New York County, Robert Morgenthau, had a comment on this when asked today about whether he was now going to prosecute Spitzer. And his answer surprised me. I thought his answer would be, it's inappropriate in this case, the federal government has conducted its investigation. That wasn't his answer. The answer that I read in the paper anyway was, why kick a man when he's down? He's already resigned from the governorship.
Oh, boy. You know, it seems to me if you're super rich, super powerful, super famous, or super hot, you can get away with just about anything. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I don't want to be baited into that one.
Well, okay, I'm going to say it for you. And I'll say it again. If you're super hot, super rich, super powerful, and super famous, you can pretty much get away with anything. I mean, let's face it, it's even hard to prosecute famous defendants when it comes to murder cases, and we've seen that time and time again. Well, listen, I hope you have good luck with your client when you go before the judge. 10 seconds. Just take a guess. You think she's going to do jail time in the wake of this, yes or no?
I would be very surprised and very saddened if she did. So I want to hold that hope. I don't want to jinx it. I'm very hopeful that she will not serve jail time.
All right.
Very
All right.
hopeful.
Thanks for joining us,
Thank
Michael.
you.
All right.